And we're live. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Your man James here, back again for another little discussion chat here with you, Mr. Sequential Treasures himself, for another Sequential Thinking live stream. Glad you could join me. Um, just hope you guys are doing okay out there. I swear to God, this year, 2020, craziest year on record. It's never been a crazier year than this. If this isn't a dress rehearsal for the end of the world and the Book of Revelations, I don't know what ever could be. It's insane. You know, uh, since I'm a West Coaster, I'm living with the entire West Coast on fire right now. It's kind of interesting. I've got the smoke in the air and the bad air quality. Not as bad as say San Francisco or some other places do, but it's not exactly easy breathing where I'm at. So, but I hope you guys are doing okay. As for me, just still can't seem to get that haircut. They can't seem to open anything up enough to get me out to do that. It's really starting to annoy me. It's hair's getting like I'm something in a Patrick Swayze 80s movie or something with the mullet. It's just crazy. I haven't had hair this long since 1997. And let me tell you, upkeep on hair like this when you're in your late 40s, a lot more difficult than when you're in your early 20s. So take it from me, kids. If you think long hair is cool, it's cool when you're young, not so much when you're getting older. But I guess it's time to head into our discussion topic for today, which, well, I wouldn't say I'm sad about the discussion topic because, I always like putting assholes in their place. It's always been a little hobby of mine, if it were, as it were. And, this person is definitely proven to be an asshole. So, and, they called me out on a live stream of theirs. So, little tit for tat, fair game. You want to mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns. But, this topic is one that's, not a very pleasant one. Not a lot of fun. And again, you'll come to understand why as we get into things. Pleasant one, and but c'est la vie. It is what it is, and that's how life goes. But let's get this started here, and we'll share the screen. And where is it at? It's right. There it is. And share. Okay. And I'll just extend this out for everybody to make it completely full screen for you. There you go. So you have a better shot when you're reading it along with me here. But yes, this has to do with the Brightweisers, most specifically Mitch Breitweiser. So yeah, it's there we go. Okay, just a little hiccup. You know how it is with us. We boomer things up around here. A little boomer. It wouldn't be one of our live streams here if there wasn't some boomer action going on. So, but this all came about from several days ago. There's been a big falling out with the Brightweisers and a lot of people who supported them through some very, very rough times. So we're going to get into all that here. And it all begins with this right here, this article, which was done for the Arkansas Times, which I'm guessing is a local affiliate to where the Brightweisers are near. And, they did this little, what seems, on the surface, like when you see the title here, Mitch and Elizabeth Brightweiser launch Allegiant Arts comic. Sounds like it's going to be a puff piece, doesn't it? But it takes a very nasty turn as you go through it. You see here. So, we're just going to go through this and break it on down for you. For a hot minute this spring, a couple of Harding University Art School grads and their Arkansas-based publishing startup were the only company in America distributing comic books. And as a twist, those comics were going to Walmart stores, which hadn't carried comic books in more than 20 years. A total of 3,384 Walmarts to be exact. So this is all about the story of the Brightweisers and Allegiance Arts and how they have now brought comics back to something of the classic newsstand, that all us old timers here remember when we were kids. You saw them in drugstores, you saw them in convenience stores, you saw them at the supermarkets, you saw them in gas stations. They were just everywhere. And that went away over the course of the 80s, and then by the time we get to the 90s, it's pretty much exclusively comic shops as your main distribution center. And so this was kind of a big deal to people to see a big box a big box store carrying comic books. So this was a big deal for them. But it was a long road to get there, and they stepped on some people along the way, which again is going to kind of get into what the whole premise here is about. It's about the betrayal. But continuing, in a year in which supply chain breakdowns changed the fate of the country, comic books wouldn't seem to rise to the level of news. But you have to admire that its May launch, Mitch and Elizabeth Breitweiser's Allegiance Arts, the country's youngest indie comic publisher, was the only one shipping books for a couple of weeks. The industry had to stop and stare. Consider what it took for the Little Rock couple to launch a company that began its life as the only business in town. Any town, pick your town. And again, we all know this. When the CVI hit, everything just seemed to stop in the industry. We saw the pencils down. We saw the brakes put on by Diamond Comics. They weren't going to ship. They spent about a month and a half without shipping anything. It was a big deal. It was a big deal, and it's led to the acrimonious and sorry state that the industry now finds itself in, with sales at all-time lows. And they say it was just the CVI that did it, but there was a lot of things leading up to it. All the C virus did was speed things up. What was going to happen naturally anyway, just they sped it up. Then they go into their work history and how they got to become comic artists and everything else. And here's their picture, and then and they got tired of working on people's stuff. They talk about their crowdfunder. Now this is key to part of what's going on with all of this. Third, they crowdfunded almost $200,000 to prove an audience existed for a title called Red Rooster, a title Mitch likens to Batman in a Barn, which I've read the book. It's not really quite all that. But to continue, they connected with the Little Rock lawyer and businessman David Martin, whose Rolodex led them to a corporate recruiter in Bentonville named Cameron Smith, who knows approximately everyone in Northwest Arkansas. So this is like the crowdfunding. This is what got them on the map. But we're going to see that there's more to it than this. And then they talk about the Walmart deal. Talk about some of the other people they're working with. Talk about all the stuff going on. Let's see, where's all right, and then we get to the main part, to the juicy part, the part that exposed what I consider to be the true face of Mitch Breitweiser in the face of all this. It's too early to call Allegiance Arts a runaway success or to declare that it has changed the fundamentals of an ailing industry. In films and video games, comic characters have taken over the world. Comic books are literally a different story. They're a much smaller group these days, and its creators tend to be a tight tribe. That's funny. But again, you'll find out in a moment why that's a little amusing to me right there. To continue, the benefits are obvious when a group of entrepreneurs successfully launch a new venture with so much upside, especially for Arkansas. Meanwhile, one subplot remains a bit more ticklish. The Brightweisers worry some people in the comics world because of their friendliness with comic creators who have fostered a toxic subculture within comics. In an industry where most creators publicly cheer new ventures, some of their peers are so wary of the culture fight, they decline to comment for this story. Now, right here, in case you're wondering, folks, and once again, he's the author, was it Sam Eifling? He is Voldemorting Comicsgate. This is what he's talking about when he's talking about, a toxic subculture because of their friendliness with a toxic subculture. He's talking about Comicsgate. And we'll get into this. It goes on. It'll go on to give you the details on all this. The Brightweisers are adamant that they're building an inclusive, non-political platform and that they don't support those who would pick on others in the comics industry or comics community. To examine that tension requires asking a sneakily heavy question of who comics are for. Allegiance Arts decided widening that audience, but the whole picture is more complicated. Actually, it's not really complicated. The whole point of the picture is that for the last several years, the mainstream industry has done all it can to get rid, sideline, insult, denigrate, drive away the mostly male, mostly white audience who have historically been the backbone of sales for comic books. And in their quote unquote drive for inclusion, what it really is just means, it means white male exclusion is more of what they want. They've gotten rid of classic icons and replaced them with diversity characters that are only about their physical appearance, the superficial diversity of being a minority or whatever. That's all they're about. They have no real story, no real character. They've trashed the classic characters. They've and just driven the fans away. And anyone who complains is labeled a bigot, is labeled a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a Nazi. This is who the mainstream has driven away. Now, if you're talking about being all inclusive, you wouldn't drive that audience away, but they have. And so who are comics for? Well, supposedly, it's for everybody, but yet that's not the way the mainstream has played it for the last several years. Continuing, the OG comics expert in Little Rock is Michael Tierney, who since the 1980s has run 2 comic specialty shops, Collector's Edition in North Little Rock and Comic Book Store in Little Rock. He's weathered changing tastes and business models, and as a brick and mortar guy till the end, or rather till the pandemic shut his doors for him in June, chasing him onto online only, he can answer the question of why comic books have all but cratered in America. It boils down essentially to changing customer tastes and industry missteps. Well, that's quite the understatement. I don't think calling your main consumer base who have supported you through good times and bad Nazis. I think calling that a misstep. Yeah, that's kind of like saying that the Titanic was just a little fender bender. It's just just not quite covering it, I think. But again, we'll see from this article that this author has an agenda themselves, and that's why certain things are downplayed like this, and certain things are upplayed, like trying to Voldemort Comicsgate and trash them without actually using their name. The former is easy to see. Comics were a dominant pop art before they had to compete with the likes of MTV, Super Mario Brothers, and AOL Instant Messenger, let alone Instagram, TikTok, Minecraft, and Fortnite. The movies and the television series are a mixed blessing. On one hand, they're better now than ever and bigger. Well, we can debate that. The 23 films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have grossed on average $1 billion apiece. 8 DC films have grossed another $5.5 billion. The dozen X-Men films have added $6 billion. Then, all the dang video games, Halloween costumes, amusement park rides, knickknacks. The business of comics characters is bigger than ever without a kid needing to pester a parent for a single thin comic book. Well, that's true. There is truth in that. I've seen stories, where people have talked about this. In fact, I used to be part of a group on Facebook that was going to do a comic show near me. And I remember one person commented saying how they had went to this one big comic show in the region for the last 3 years with their kids, and they had never set foot in the comics room, the area where the comics were. So there is some truth in that. But again, he's downplaying certain aspects. These things are big, but what are they doing to foster comics other than just strip mine the characters and the classic stories from the 60s, 70s, and 80s to make the movies and the TV shows? What are they doing to make people want to buy the comics today? You know, what are they producing? How are they promoting it? And it's just not happening. So again, very much, you know, short-sighting what's actually going on. As readers became viewers and players, the publishing industry itself did itself no favors. Publishers sell comics mostly through hobby or specialty stores. Like so many bookstores, Amazon et al. Have all put the hurt on them over the years. Again, not exactly true. I mean, again, it's more nuanced than he's presenting it. He's presenting it more as just, oh yeah, this is why. And saying, but that's not true. There's a lot more moving parts to all this than just what he wants to have you believe. Tierney says that an industry that used to be 15,000 stores strong a generation ago is probably down to 1,000 or so. That's true, with probably about, you know, 1,000 that have closed within the last five years. So, you know, it's been a very rapid fall. Maybe double that if you count gas stations and the bait shops that still stock a spinner rack. Yeah, again, very few of those. That's why the Walmart deal was such a big deal with the Brightweisers, because that's kind of the new newsstand now. Whereas you didn't have any of these, you know, these gas stations and bait shops you talked about. There are really not any out there that do this anymore. In the mid-90s, Marvel and then DC bought their own comics distributor, hoping to cut out the companies that served as middlemen to retailers. Starving other distributors into oblivion led to an effective duopoly that prevented indie comics from even making it into the market. Yes, they're talking about the Heroes World debacle with Marvel back in the mid to late 90s. I was there. I saw it happen. I was working at a shop at the time. This is all true. This is exactly what they were trying to do. When those distributors, Heroes World for Marvel, Diamond for DC, faltered in their deliveries, in Tierney's view, it landed on the retailers, who had no options for better service. Retailers got caught in the crunch, he says. The industry has been constantly shrinking. Used to be if a Marvel print run got below 90,000 copies, they'd cancel it. Now print runs are 10,000. They're down to some 5,000 in runs. We used to call those limited editions. Yeah, it did. You know, he goes on talking about the print industry and making it less kid-friendly, you know, more adult-oriented stories. And then we get back into the main feature, the Voldemorting of this. The skirmishes continue over who exactly is the audience for comics. Behold the 2018 Vox headline, Batman's penis is in a comic book for the first time ever, but not for long, about a single panel in DC's Black Label storyline that gives new meaning to the phrase comic strip. The parents, they freak out. So do the aunties and uncles, including the Brightweisers. It says something when a former color artist on Batman would feel uncomfortable leaving a comic out for their 5 nieces and nephews to browse. You know, and then he talks about Allegiance Arts some more, you know, saying how they're trying to stand against such things and blah, blah, blah. And then now we get to the true meat right here. Here it is. So here's a condensed version of how a rift came between these stories and so many of the writers, artists, and readers who would otherwise be cheering their success. So, you know, again, take note, he's going to be upshotting some things and you know, pushing them to the fore while trying to downplay other aspects. In November 2016, Mitch Breitweiser sent what in another era might be considered a benign tweet, complete with illustration of the U.S. president-elect standing with a sword and a halo, invoking a medieval knight with a message, "Congratulations, President-elect Donald Trump. I wish you the very best in your effort to make America great again for all Americans." The original tweet exists only in screenshots. Mitch has since deleted his account, which should tell you something right there. You could read it as ironic, or you could read it as flattering, but either way, he rolled that into a Twitter sphere still sore from an election night, and more broadly, always itching to scrap over the broader question of inclusivity in the comics industry. That's just his short way of saying, yeah, by putting that out there, even though it was very milquetoast, even though it wasn't, necessarily, being mean to anybody or pointing and laughing at people. SJWs lost their minds because they lost the election, and anything that did not coincide with their grief must be destroyed. And that's what that was, and that's exactly what happened. That's the question of the scrap of broader inclusivity in the comics industry. And all these far left ideologues who were already in the industry for years, sometimes many years, who just collectively lost their minds because the election of 2016 didn't go their way, and they suddenly took off the gloves and just didn't care. They'll attack anybody. Co-creators, colleagues, readers, didn't matter. That's what happened. And the Brightweisers were a part of this. They were targeted for an image in a tweet that wished for Donald Trump to actually be able to bring America together for everybody. That's what they attacked. You can guess what happened next. Captain America artist wonders why he is losing friends over his patriotism, a Bleeding Cool headline read. Yeah, that's Rich Johnston for you, the troll of the mainstream right there. He lives under the bridge. Never a serious, never a less serious, more disingenuous, more I love to watch the world burn type than Rich Johnston, I tell you. Mitch tweet activated two factions. Some people lobbed at them the sort of insult they'd like to send to the president. Meanwhile, people inclined to support the president stood up for him. Acrimony simmered. Then the following summer, some in the more conservative faction tagged harassing tweets aimed at feminists and trans people and young women in the industry with hashtag Comicsgate. There it is. See, this is what it is. This is what it is. And if you've been watching this stuff, if you've been involved in stuff, you've been paying attention to this stuff, as I have, that is completely not true. Comicsgate was the name given to people by those feminists and trans people and young women in the industry. They're the ones who named them Comicsgate, because not for harassment, but just for disagreeing, for telling them to shut up and quit shoving your politics on our face and just make the comics entertaining. We want to be entertained. That's what we're paying you for. They're telling paying customers, you're Nazis, you're bigots because you don't believe as I do. And then when they have something to say about it, suddenly they're harassing you. That's what's been going on the entire time. That's what started Comicsgate. And the name was created by those who attacked those people. Comicsgate was created by the people who say they hate Comicsgate. But again, you're not going to get such context with this author's piece here. Some fans and creators lumped the Brightweisers in with the faction that was hurling abuses at people. Things came to a head in 2018 when the Brightweisers canceled a scheduled appearance at a comic convention over what they said were safety concerns. Now, you see right there, that should tell you the story right there. You notice none of the people who, quote unquote, claim to be harassed by Comicsgate are canceling their appearances at shows or canceling, doing things they want to do because of all those evil Comicsgaters. But yet here are people, because of the people attacking those people, felt they had to cancel out of safety. So, I mean, it kind of tells you where the hatred, where the anger, where the bigotry, where it really lies. And it's not so much with Comicsgate. It's with the people who are against it. Because for them, this isn't just about entertainment. This isn't just about, telling stories. This isn't about, people just, trying to have something to enjoy in a hobby. For them, it's all political. Like I said, the loss of that election in 2016 broke these people. It broke them. And I don't think they'll ever be right again. Whether Trump is reelected in 2020 or not, it doesn't matter. These people are broken forever by this. And this right here tells you, exactly what you're seeing right now when you watch the evening news and you're seeing riots in the street, you're seeing burning down buildings and people being assaulted and stores being looted. Those same people doing that, they're the same ones who make the Brightweisers feel they had to cancel that appearance. The same type of people. Like other internet movements marked by harassment, Comicsgate thrives on vagueness, except it doesn't. One of its proponents, a comic artist named Ethan Van Sciver, gotta bring in Ethan, gotta bring in the guy who's been the most successful person to wear the Comicsgate tag. Gotta have him in it. Which again, this is gonna play an important part. So pay attention here. This is gonna be important to what goes down in the very near future. Described it on a YouTube channel called Comic Artist Pro Secret in 2018 as a community for dispossessed right-wing and moderate comic book professionals who can no longer get work in this blacklisted, disgusting, politically oppressed industry as it has become. A rational person would prefer to steer clear of its blast zone. Irrational people trying to understand comics in 2020 instead might open dozens of browser tabs, watch hours of YouTube, and reach out to comics creators who reply by saying they don't want their names in a story that touches on Comicsgate. So again, here they see once again running down Comicsgate. It's obvious the agenda of this author. He is evidently totally anti-Comicsgate, and so he is not giving any consideration to anything that's happened. It's all anything bad has happened. It's Comicsgate's fault. If people on the other side did bad things, well, they're not. We're just not going to talk about that. And if we do mention it, we'll just vaguely mention it, like here's the event that the Brightweisers canceled, and we'll say, well, that's Comicsgate's fault too because they made the situation untenable, even though they had nothing to do with it, even though it wasn't Comicsgate that made them cancel. It was the people against Comicsgate. This guy is never going to give any of that. He gives here, as a for instance, from one writer, I would rather not furnish a quote because Comicsgate people just destroy people's lives and I wouldn't go near them with a barge pole. Yes, this from a person who most likely attacked the Brightweisers, attacked Ethan Van Sciver, attacked Richard C. Meyer, attacked John Malin, attacked all these other people who, just because they had a different viewpoint, the Brightweisers posting a picture of Trump and hoping he does well for the country's sake, cancel those people. Ethan Van Sciver, who, because he wouldn't denounce Comicsgate early on and then later joined it, now he must be called a Nazi and destroyed and driven out of the mainstream. John Malin, who said, and rightfully so, that that Nazis are SJWs. They absolutely are. Their actions, their words, their deeds, very much in line with what SJWs do. Again, just look outside your window today. Just look, watch the news for any length of time. You'll see those SJWs on the streets. What are they doing? Same things the Nazis did in the 1920s. So he was correct, but because John Malin pointed out that truth, he has to be canceled. Richard C. Meyer, he was critical of these people. He was critical of their behavior online and the crappy work they're spewing out because it's more about their politics and about entertainment. So, of course, he must be destroyed. He is a monster. You see, this is what I'm talking about. It's not Comicsgate who is destroying people's lives. It's these people, this unnamed writer and his ilk. They're the ones who are the ones destroying people's lives, trying to get people canceled, trying to drive them to poverty, to suicide. These are the people that do that. But again, this writer isn't going to tell you any of this. But a deep dive turns up little to impugn the Brightweisers. This is where it gets good, folks. The perception that they're aligned with Comicsgate seems to rest largely on their being polite to creators and other people find abhorrent. So there it is. The Brightweisers aren't Comicsgate. They're just nice to people who identify that way, and that's why they're lumped in. But they're just polite people. They just chose the wrong people to be nice to. Do you see how smug and how condescending this is? He's attacking Comicsgate while trying to absolve the Brightweisers. It's not hard to see why they try to be diplomatic. For one, they're not publicly political, a certain tweet notwithstanding. For another, they've been running crowdfunding campaigns and trying to draw broad support from fans and investors, and they've tried not to take sides. Again, pay attention to that line. That's going to be important later on. It's a tightrope they've been walking. Today, they would very much prefer to focus on a business they say will give writers and artists the freedom and resources to do eclectic, ambitious, and best-in-class work. And so far, they've backed that up. Says Mitch, I want to think we took bad energy and turned it into good energy. It's not fun to transmute bad energy into good energy, but sometimes that's the only way forward. Now, what is he talking about here? What's the bad energy? Does he mean the bad energy of him being attacked by the SJWs, for posting that image of Trump, wishing him, good fortune for the sake of the nation? Or is he talking about what this author is talking about, where he denigrates Comicsgate as a toxic subculture of abhorrent people? You see, he's not really clear. Now, again, you may say, well, maybe the author edited this in a way so that it left out certain context. Perhaps. We'll never really know. But the fact that this is Mitch's own words, and he can't deny that they're not. He can't sit here and say, well, I never said that. That's not what I said. He can say it's not how I meant it, but you can't say it's not what he said. And, it makes you wonder. And then says Elizabeth, we want to make a safe haven for creators. It's been my worst nightmare to be labeled all of these things and have nothing to do with me. So again, what things are we talking about? Are we talking about being labeled a Nazi, the way many in Comicsgate have been, being labeled a bigot, being labeled a racist and a sexist and all these other things? Or is it the label of Comicsgate itself that you object to? That's the nightmare. You see, again, very vague. Now, again, you wouldn't want to hold this against them per se, because you don't know what editing was done to this article by the author and his editors. So they could have been saying something else, but the way it's set up by the author and then going into those quotes, well, it certainly looks like it's saying a certain thing, doesn't it? In July of this year, on the online show Live from the Bunker on Sci-Fi 4Me TV, Mitch was asked about how he navigated cancel culture on the way to his successful crowdfunding and the Walmart launch. He said he was hopeful that other creators would find room at the table, even if they weren't ideologically aligned with the industry mainstream, which tends to tilt left. Nobody should have gone through what we went through, he said. It sucks. It's horrible. But it's also hardened us to a degree. We probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing now if we weren't sharpened on a hard stone. Well, there's truth in that, but that whole thing of being hardened to a degree, well, I think the degree isn't as much as he would think. And again, you'll see later what I'm talking about. And then we get towards the end here. For what it's worth, anyone you talk to who meets the Brightweisers tends to really like them. They're friendly and soft-spoken and genuine and hardworking. It's not for nothing they wowed multiple successful investors, Martin, Smith, Haynes, who hadn't exactly been sitting around waiting for a comic book opportunity of all ideas to come waltzing into their office. It's not only investing in the business idea, Haynes says. Ultimately, you're investing in Mitch and Elizabeth. What I've been able to experience is they're in it to win it. This isn't a game. They're heart and soul. Again, take note of this. You're not just investing in a business, you're investing in them, which a lot of Comicsgate folk did to the tune of $200,000 on their original Red Rooster campaign, which, again, we're going to be getting into that in a moment. But, of course, we can't go out without taking a few more swipes at Comicsgate. As for who comics are by, the answer is the best ones have always been by marginalized artists, even outcasts. They're an American art form that resonates with American audiences because Americans don't know how to square two perpendicular wants, to be a world power and to be a scrappy underdog. That paradox absolutely stokes modern conservatism, which can't decide whether America is unassailably mighty or whether people who reject a gender binary might just collapse society. See, again, taking swipes at people for things. See, again, making it political. What does any of that have to do with creating entertainment? Don't know, but this guy doesn't care. Whether we're a shining light on the hill or whether we're being quicksand into the dark ages, by desperate immigrants who believe are hype. Again, more politics, more lies, more vagueness. You know, the very things he proclaimed of Comicsgate is what this author does. Whether we're in a nation of Christian values or one that can be ably led by a lifelong financial and sexual predator who has never been able to recall a single Bible verse when asked to cite one near to his alleged heart. See, all political. This has nothing to do with the Brightweisers. This has nothing to do with comics. It doesn't really have anything to do with Comicsgate, but this is the way he wants to frame it. Comicsgate are like Donald Trump, and Trump is evil. Therefore, Comicsgate is evil. Comicsgate is bad. You know, Comicsgate bad. Orange Man bad. It's all the same. We all live amid that confusion this year. Wedge that conflated ideology into supposed underdog art, and of course, you get trench warfare. But again, it's a warfare that was pushed by his side, not Comicsgate. But of course, he doesn't really, you know, have to tell you that, because, you know, comics at least have historically helped offer clarity on this point. It helped that they were the invention of genius outsiders. What are you talking about? Siegel and Schuster? Is that who you're talking about? Our industry was created by a bunch of Jews who had nothing in front of them but starving, says Fabrice Spilowski, a French Jewish immigrant and comics creator who brainchild Spider-Man Noir you might recognize as the black and white Spidey from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was like, we have to do something because we can't pay for study, we can't be doctors, we can't be lawyers, we have to eat. To me, hate groups as a whole are a betrayal of who we are as an industry. We are the children of Bob Kane, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Joe Simon, who were Jews who came from nowhere. This is very interesting, because that's the other ticket is they say Comicsgate is a hate movement or a hate group, except it's not. You know, it has minorities of all races. It has women. It has gay people who are all a part and who gladly tout the banner Comicsgate. You know, a hate movement tends to have a very specified sort of clientele. You know, you don't see any black people in the KKK. You didn't see a whole lot of Jews in the Nazis. You don't see, you know, and to take it even further, go to like South Africa. I'm sure we heard about the stories about them taking lands from the white farmers. You don't see a lot of, you know, of care for the white folk in South Africa, which is a predominantly black nation. You see, so when you got the supremacy thing going on of one group, you know, being run through hate, they kind of exclude all the other groups, you know, and this is what the mainstream is doing. You people who don't think like us, who don't believe like us, who don't follow the orthodoxies we demand you follow, we cancel you. There's your hate group. You know, Comicsgate is the outsiders in all of this. They've been made the outsiders by those on the inside. But again, we're not going to get any such nuanced clarity from this guy. You know, and let's see, anything else here left? Asked to play an expert in a conversation about where the culture and industry of comics is going and how Allegiance Arts fits into it, he takes an aerial view. America has always been split, so controversy shouldn't surprise anyone. Immigrants like him sympathize with launching your own company if you feel isolated. Talent eventually wins out, and the future belongs to people who can find an audience, because audiences don't lie. They either buy your stuff or they don't. Now that, to me, is the height of hilarious irony, because that's the very thing we see happening in the mainstream. People aren't buying their stuff. Meanwhile, you have guys like, you know, again, Richard C. Meyer, you know, hitting a couple 100,000 out of the gate on any given crowdfunder he does. You got John Malin, whose current one is over $200,000. You got Cecil's book, it's over $200,000. You got the one that's being done by Keanu Reeves, like last I saw, was like $750,000. You know, you got Ethan Van Sciver, of course, the man of the hour, over $1 million on 2 different crowdfunders. You know, so these are the people making the money and selling the books. And meanwhile, you know, as you saw right here in this story right here, which, you know, it's why I read it to you, you know, print runs, you know, of 5,000 on titles from major league publishers, Marvel, DC, Image, IDW, Dark Horse, you know, and here are guys like Ethan Van Sciver. He's got about 5,000 or so. He's got like around 5,000 backers on his current crowdfunder. So it's the same amount of people, and yet Ethan's making the money, and somehow the industry isn't. And, you know, so here he is talking about how audiences don't lie. But if that's the case, then wouldn't that suggest that the Comicsgate audience is the audience for comics? Because they're the ones supporting all these works. They're the ones making these crowdfunders, including the one for the Brightweisers, so successful. But yet, again, you don't get such context in this story from Sam Eifling, because this guy, as you're going to find out, himself is SJW. He's a Trump hater. He's anti-anything conservative. He's anti-anything American. He's anti-anything that does not follow the orthodoxy of far leftist, communistic type, socialism. If you believe in borders, you're a bigot. If you believe in a gender binary, you're a bigot. If you believe that, kids shouldn't be taught certain things in school, that it's up to it should be their parents, you're a bigot. If you believe, that there is a difference in biological sex between men and women, you're a bigot. This is what this guy believes. So of course, he says this stuff, but he doesn't really believe it, or he's gaslighting everybody to thinking, well, this is the mainstream. That's how it is. No, it's not the mainstream that has the audience that doesn't lie. The audience has left. The audience they had has left, and the one that they thought they were going to get never materialized. That's why you have books selling this way. But again, it's all just gaslighting and obfuscation from this guy. Now, you would look at this and you say, well, okay, but what does this have to do with Mitch Breitweiser betraying people? Aside from some quotes that are on his in the article there that could have been edited in a certain way, that could have been done that way to make it appear he's saying something he isn't. What's the point? What's the reasoning for that? And I'm gonna help you out here with some of this, because again, we're gonna go through all of this stuff, because again, you got to go back to the beginning. He briefly mentioned it in his article, but there's more to it. There's a nuance that isn't being seen. Because again, this guy, this guy who does it, he doesn't care about nuance. He cares about pushing his own leftist agenda, and that's what he did in that article. He trashed Comicsgate, as you saw. He trashed people that don't fit his political narratives, his political ideology, and he went on to say, well, then that's that makes them bad, because Orange Man bad, and anyone who does not think Orange Man bad is bad. That's this guy's mentality, as you'll see. Again, I'll show you this shortly, because it will come into focus, but. But what you're going to see here now is, let me just, oops. And let me just share this with you. And share screen. Here we go. Okay, and here this is the image that he spoke of briefly in his piece. This is the image of him where Mitch made this image on election night after Trump wins, and says to him, "Hey, guess what? I hope you do well, Mr. President. This is what got him in trouble." And as we saw, it's no surprise they attacked him, because just look at this, the classic from Alana Smith. Make no mistake, even if Trump loses, we will remember who supported him. This is an editor at Marvel. And here's Whale Simone. It's going to be very important to remember who endorsed Trump who chose this ridiculous unqualified lump over their country. And again, look at the dates on those tweets, you know, right before the election. And then here's everyone's favorite soy boy, Tim Soil, you know, where when Mitch is talking about, you know, here, I'm about to take one of the biggest risks of my life. A couple years ago, I thought it was over, indicating, you know, when all that stuff went down. I wasn't getting much support and friends were turning their backs on me. But now your enthusiasm is palpable and all things are possible. It really is special. Thank you. And so then Tim Soil comes in. It's okay to be conservative. It's not okay to support a serial sex assaulter who toadies up to fascists like Trump. Please reconsider. And again, the same guy who, when asked what is it that makes Ethan Van Sciver, you know, a fascist or a Nazi, he goes, Exhibit A through Z is Ethan being a Trump voter. So there it is. You know, this is the mentality of the people. You know, here's more from Tim Soil where he attacked, you know, Mitch's crowdfunder. I'm not sure how a bigot's crowdfunded comic book selling less than 3,500 copies is supposed to be turning the comic industry on its head, but YOLO or some shit. So again, trashing his achievements. It's just amazing. And then here we go. Now we get into it. This is Mitch's post. You can see here on the 1st. You know that you saw the article came out on August 27th. Here's Mitch talking about the article. Absolutely stunning photo by Brandon Markin for the Arkansas Times for an article about our Allegiance Arts comic book initiative into Walmart and beyond. Aside from making my wife relive the trauma of her harassment, dwelling on the malicious gossip that hurts this industry so much, and editorializing from his own political frame, it is a lovely and well-written article. Read it here, and he links to it. This is as close as you're going to see now to Mitch condemning what that author did. The way he took swipes at Comicsgate and people who supported Mitch when he was being attacked, when he was being canceled by the mainstream for his election night tweet, you know, who attacked his wife. You know, Tim Soil famously did this. He attacked him and on Twitter. He attacked Elizabeth Breitweiser, and someone commented about like how Comicsgate is all guys except for this one woman, and Tim Soil comes in, yeah, that's internalized misogyny, my friend, and referring to Elizabeth Breitweiser, saying she has internalized misogyny, which is why she's part of Comicsgate. You know, so you know this is what we're talking about. This is as close as Mitch gets to condemning this author for what they did, using them in that way, using them to hit Comicsgate and to push that agenda against Comicsgate. You know, this is as close as he gets, because as you'll see, you know, coming up here on the same day on his Allegiance Arts page on Facebook, they're in it to win it. This isn't a game. They're heart and soul. Arkansas Times article on Allegiance Arts comic book initiative into Walmart and beyond. So here it is right here. You know, here it is again. He posts a link to the article. Any notation here about how the author, you know, bait and switch them, the way he, you know, took what they said and maybe took it out of context, or, you know, just used them to run down other people who supported them in the hard times? No, nothing in there about it. Nothing. And again, this is September 1st. This is days after it's come out. And, you know, nobody in Comicsgate really knew about this yet. Even Ethan Van Sciver didn't know about this. You know, it wasn't until Ethan's birthday 2 days after this that it was sent to him. He got this on his birthdays when Ethan Van Sciver found out that he was personally trashed in this article. You know. And this is the author, Sam Eifling. I mean, just look at that face. Just look at that face. It's the soy boy face. It's always the same. SJWs, I swear to God, they're like made on a conveyor belt. They all look the same. They all look like this. But this guy used the Brightweisers to attack Comicsgate, and you saw virtually nothing said by the Brightweisers about this guy. But yet, here's Mitch again on September 1st. Elizabeth and I have accomplished a lot in the last 2 years, but they've also been the most difficult years of our lives. We have both honed completely new and surprising skills as executives, building great relationships with creatives and partners, as well as pitching, selling, creating, and navigating a startup through very difficult waters. We've also learned that we have limitations on how much we can handle. We can't make everyone happy, and we make mistakes. Admittedly, Neither of us have ever been the fastest of artists, but we try to make that up with excellent craftsmanship. But we can't be 100% committed to our craft while being 100% committed to managing a complicated business. I wish I could better explain this to frustrated Red Rooster backers for whom I have great empathy. I'm giving it everything I've got, but some weeks there just isn't any gas left in the tank. This book will be finished soon and will be nearly everything I wanted it to be, a magnum opus. It will likely be the last full book I draw for a very long time, maybe ever. I hope we can find some peace once it's behind us. Once fulfilled, all of our energy will be directed towards growing a fantastic publishing company that paves a way for incredible creators, right after Elizabeth and I take a well-deserved vacation. So here he is right here, probably starting to get some feedback, because again, that when this article came out on August 27th, he said nothing to nobody. No one got a heads up. He didn't come out that day or the day after and say, hey, there's this article and they attacked people who supported us and we are totally against that. We didn't say these things. He is misconstruing what we said. He has altered and edited our words to use them against people that we love and who supported us in hard times, and we do not abide this. We are upset about this. We demand retractions of this. Nothing like that came out. But yet here he is, trying to tell people who are upset about Red Rooster, his crowdfunding effort, that he got $200,000 from people, from many of them in Comicsgate, the very people who were attacked as abhorrent people in the article. And he's trying to assuage them, telling them, you just got to wait. You know, it'll be worth it. Just wait. Never mind that it's been over 2 years and he still has yet to fulfill it. And never mind, it's been over 2 years, and yet he made a deal with Walmart and put the pieces of that story out. Some of them are already out right now. So the backers who backed it to get the book made get put to the sideline, while some guy on the street who never even heard of Allegiance Arts could walk into his local Walmart and get the first couple of chapters of the story for himself, while the person who backed it waiting for their book is still waiting and being told, you just got to hold off, guys. It'll be worth it, I promise. This is what he does. This is what he does in the wake of this story coming out and him starting to get blowback for not going after the author of it. And here it is, a day later. One day, the bizarre and harrowing true story of Allegiance Arts will be written. Elizabeth, myself, and our company have been subject to so much rumor and speculation that it has become out of control and extremely disassociative. We have had people we thought were friends tell insider stories to those that actually profit from rumor mongering about us. I'm sorry, Mitch. Who's the one that did an article that trashed the very people who supported them? Who was that? Because I don't think it was Ethan Van Sciver. I don't think it was anybody in Comicsgate. Continuing, it's all obscene garbage. We've been painted as scammers and liars and villains. Well, when you go over 2 years without fulfilling and then go make deals with Walmart and put books out there and then tell the people who backed you for $200K large to get the book out, you got to wait and you're going to keep on waiting. And then you go out and do article interviews and ends up trashing those people. I wonder why they would think you're a scammer, a liar, and a villain. I mean, I guess you just can't please some people, huh, Mitch? Continuing. We've been doxxed and harassed and even had a blackmail attempt. Unfortunately, the truth is far more dramatic, but it cannot be told now. Of course it can't, because you haven't thought up a story to cover your ass, have you, Mitch? That's what it really comes down to. Just like the SJWs, oh, I got death threats. Well, let's see them. Oh, I can't show them to you. Why not? Well, because they're just too hurtful. I can't show you this stuff. Oh, so the evidence that would prove that you got death threats, you can't show me because it's so hurtful, but yet I have to believe you that this happened. Meanwhile, here's Mitch doing the same exact thing. Doxxed and harassed and blackmailed. Oh, I got no proof. I'm not showing anything. I can't show you right now. It's far too dramatic. Continuing. Suffice to say that we've crawled, scratched, and fought our way through hell for this company. Oh, crap. Hate when that happens. There it is. Okay. For this company and for its creators, all while taking abuse from people that have more than just an axe to grind about a late comic book, blood, sweat, and tears. So again, now he's denigrating the people who he has held off for over 2 years, who backed him in good faith, and who he went then and made deals with Walmart and put books out through Walmart, letting the man on the street get a chance to see Red Rooster first before the people who actually backed it did. And he's now running them down, calling them abusive, calling them, doctors and harassers, So when you look back in that article where I showed you the quotes from the Brightweisers, where I said, could be they were edited, could be they were taken out of context by the author who himself has an agenda. All of a sudden, when you see this, you got to start to wonder, don't you? Gee, maybe he wasn't taken out of context. Maybe he meant it the way it was produced. Maybe he meant it the way it was portrayed. You have to wonder, don't you? But again, it doesn't end here. And another one, the next day after that. Now we're talking, it's like what, the 5th? The September 5th. To the individuals that misrepresented our statements from the Times article and spread it all across the internet yesterday, you have triggered thousands of dollars in refunds with your slander, cost Elizabeth and myself many days of precious work time, and severely impacted our ability to conduct business. Not nice. This is on the 4th. This is September 4th. This is a direct Voldemorting of Ethan Van Sciver, who on the previous day, again, September 3rd, his birthday, when he found out about this, with getting no heads up from Brightweisers at all. They didn't drop him a note, an email, a phone call, a message on YouTube, or nothing. They just let it happen. And it wasn't until a week later Ethan finds out about this, sees that he's getting blasted and Comiskate is getting blasted, and Mitch is saying nothing about it. And because Ethan decided to speak up about it, now he wants to. Now what's going on with all the refunds and people being upset and angered? It's all Ethan Van Sciver's fault now. It's Comiskate's fault. We did nothing wrong. You guys are the ones. Once again, no responsibility. Who's the one that decided to do the interview? Who's the one that look into the interviewer and see what kind of an ideologue he is? Who's the one that didn't give a heads up to people who supported you? Who's the one that didn't call out the article right away when it came out and you saw how it ran down your supporters? Who was it who made all those decisions? Who made the decision to take $200,000 in a crowdfunder and put those people off for over 2 years and waiting? Who was it that said, let me put out my books through Walmart first? Who made all these choices? Was it Ethan Van Sciver? Was it Comiskate? I don't think it was. But yet, somehow, some way, this is all their fault now. You see, again, so now you're starting to see where the betrayal comes in. So I had to get in. I couldn't just sit on the sidelines on this. So I came in and I tried to give him a chance to do the right thing. So here's what I say. That article threw a lot of people who supported you in hard times under the bus. That's the fault of the author, not you. Again, me giving him the benefit of doubt at the time. This is September 5th. But it was your response but what is your response to seeing people who helped and supported you maligned in the press that way, and you're being used to do that? Do you have anything to say on this matter? So I'm giving him a chance to actually come out and state that this author was a scumbag, this author twisted their words, this author used them and abused them and had his own agenda that had nothing to do with what he thought that the story was about, the story that he promoted on his personal Facebook page and on his company's Facebook page. You saw there with almost nothing said about the denigrating of the people who supported him. It's all right there. So I gave him a chance to state it, to come out and say, yes, this author is a scumbag. But what do we get? We get this instead. I've expressed my displeasure with the article publicly and privately. I told the writer he would only cause us harassment, only I thought it would come from the left and not the right. I am very disappointed in the Comiskate leadership that chose to misrepresent the article. They lost a friend in me. Very sad, not smart. What the hell? First of all, this is very SJW speak. Very sad, not smart. That sounds like it's, and CG leadership, anyone who's involved in this knows there is no leader of CG. There is one. There is no one. No, nobody is. At one time or other, everybody in Comicsgate said, "I am the leader of Comicsgate." You know, it's almost like it's like the end of Spartacus. I am Spartacus. No, I am Spartacus. No, I am Spartacus. I'm the leader of Comicsgate. No, I'm the leader of Comicsgate. There is no leader. But who believes there is? The SJWs believe there is, and he's talking just like them. And here it is. He's disappointed in them for quote unquote misrepresenting the article, not for the article attacking them, not for the article denigrating them, not for the author, you know, baiting and switching him and his wife to let them think it was going to be maybe a puff piece and it turns out to be a hit job on Comicsgate. No. He's not upset about any of that. He's upset that the people who supported him are upset at him for not speaking out against it. He's upset at them for attacking the article because he failed to do so, and it makes him look bad. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's right here, his own words. So I come back to him. I say, no, Comicsgate was backstabbed by that article. They referred to them as abhorrent people and more. You said nothing that I've seen here or elsewhere to set the record straight that CG saved your asses, that they supported you when those like this author were trying to destroy you and your wife, that people like Ethan Van Sciver allowed you a safe haven to promote your work on his platform and get many in Comicsgate to back you when the mainstream was out to cancel you. The article misrepresented the facts as we all saw them go down, and you've done nothing to correct it. Bad enough you sold out your crowdfunding backers by putting them off for your Walmart deal first, but now you are allowing those who tried to destroy you to use you as fodder to rewrite the history of what happened, and you are allowing it. So is this how you roll when people use people when you need them and discard them when they aren't convenient? Sort of, thanks for the support, Comicsgate, but we don't need you anymore, so fuck off and don't associate us with yourselves. I was willing to believe that it was only the author who did this dirty deed. Now, after this response, I think you are fully in cahoots with them. Good job. You've just lost 2 Allegiance Art supporters. I'm sure we won't be the last. I'd say good luck to you, but I was taught not to say things you don't mean. Too bad you can't say the same. So yeah, was I salty? Oh, absolutely I was. Absolutely. And I had a right to be. This guy is denigrating the very people who put him where he is. His success is attributable to Comicsgate. But yet, as Ethan Van Sciver noted in his live stream when he talked about this, the author of that article is trying to make it so that the Brightweisers, well, they're not really Comicsgate. They never really were Comicsgate. So this success of theirs, Comicsgate played no part in this. This is just the success of entrepreneurs in the mainstream. You know, Ethan has said that it was like the equivalent of them. This is the equivalent of the Judas getting 30 pieces of silver. This is the 30 pieces. They're telling him, hey, we'll let you back in. You just got to say you never were really Comicsgate, because if you say that, then any success you have can't be attributed to them, and then we can then say that they're just a bunch of whiny cranks that don't matter and they're not successful. That's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to rewrite history. And Mitch Breitweiser seems to want to go along with it, because he's blaming the people who were attacked in the article for attacking the article that attacked them. It's crazy. But it doesn't end here. He goes, I watched them throw me under the bus. I await my apology. And again, if you watched Ethan's stream, which of course I did, he did not throw him under the bus. In fact, Ethan went out of his way to say that, you know, like I did in the beginning here, it was the author who took advantage of Mitch and abused him, not Mitch abusing other people. It was the author who's at fault here, you know, and they're trying to set the Brightweisers up to denounce Comicsgate so that they can then say, well, we were never Comicsgate. That's what this was. And, you know, he said that, you know, that's what is going on. He didn't say the Brightweisers are responsible. He put the blame squarely on the author. But again, Mitch doesn't seem to care. Anybody that's critical of anything to do with him, and he falls apart, it seems. So I hit him up. I go, you and the author threw them under the bus. There's no apology coming to you for that. Enjoy those 30 pieces of silver. You'll find out soon that it wasn't really worth it. And you know, and that's exactly what it is. That complaint of his about all the refunds and, you know, all the complaints he's getting now, where people are really coming down hard on him for Red Rooster not being put out to the backers, you know, whereas they've been waiting for 2 years and, you know, and change, and it's still going on again. And we're going to get more into that in a moment. You know, here this is, and, you know, here he's finding out it really wasn't worth it for this. He's really finding that out the hard way. And, you know, I'd pity him if he wasn't being such a colossal asshole. So then it goes on more. Mitch responds to me again. I did no such thing. The wool has been pulled over your eyes. Ethan twists everything. See, again, it's all Ethan Van Sciver's fault. It's his fault for talking about this. He should have just shut the hell up and just let him run his name through the mud, and just, you know, run Comicsgate's name through the mud and alter the history of what actually happened, and just been quiet about it. You know, kind of like, it's kind of funny because that's kind of what the SJW said to Mitch and his wife about that Trump picture they did on election night. You should have shut up and kept quiet. It doesn't matter whether you meant it, you know, honestly, you know, you were hoping for unity, or whether you meant it sardonically and were just trying to be funny. It doesn't, whatever your intention were, it doesn't matter. You should have shut up and minded your own business. Just shut up. Should have shut up and stayed out of it. And that's exactly what he's saying here now. He's doing what Tom King did to Jay Lee. Now, as you all know, we talked about this, I think, in two live streams ago here, where Tom King attacked Jay Lee because Jay Lee did a cover for Cyberfrog's current crowdfunder almost a year ago. And because Jay Lee was tapped to do a cover for Tom King's upcoming Rorschach miniseries, he used it to attack Jay Lee and try to say he's Comicsgate. And that blew up in Tom King's face, as we all saw. You know, it didn't work. You know, the cancel culturing of Jay Lee failed, and Tom King looked like a fool. But here he is trying to compare Ethan talking about this article, saying that the author abused and misused the Brightweisers to attack Comicsgate, is somehow the same as him trying to cancel the Brightweisers the way Tom King tried to cancel Jay Lee. I mean, do you see the extent he's going to? You know, and Ethan never said to anybody, "Hey, cancel. You know, go and get a refund for your backing of the crowdfunder for Red Rooster. You know, cancel the Brightweisers. They need to be driven out of this industry for lying to you." He said nothing like that. Nothing. But yet, in Mitch's twisted brain, that's how this reads. His coming out against the article that attacked him makes Ethan the bad guy. And everything that's falling out from that article is now Ethan's fault. Not his fault for doing the article, not the author's fault for writing the article in that way, attacking those people. No, it's all Ethan's fault. You know, he goes on. He has my number and could have called, but he went and blasted it out instead. Oh, I'm sorry, Mitch. He has your number. Don't you have his number then? Couldn't you have called him when the damn article came out and gave him a heads up and say, "Hey, Ethan, just want you to know, man, I did an interview for this local paper of mine, and the author totally misconstrued what I said. You know, he took things I said and all, you know, edited them in a way to make me say like I'm saying something that I'm not. He went and ran you down. He ran down Comicsgate and all you people who supported me and the wife through hard times. And I just want you to know, we didn't have anything to do with that. This is totally this guy's agenda. We didn't know that that's what he was going to do. He said he just wanted to do a puff piece about our successful business venture at Allegiance Arts. No phone call from him. No email from him. But yet Ethan should have called or emailed Mitch before blasting it out. Never mind that Mitch let it get blasted out where Ethan and Comicsgate are blasted. That doesn't matter. It's only when it's Mitch that it matters. You know, utter selfishness, the utter lack of self-awareness that he is displaying here is incredible. You have to see that is wrong and not what someone does to their friends. No, what you don't do to your friends, Mitch, is let them get blasted in an article and then say nothing until they're complaining and then say they're the problem. That's what you don't do to a friend, Mitch. But that's exactly what he has done here. I cannot control what the journalist writes. He did a bait and switch. We told him that there were really great people in CG, but he chose not to report it. Yeah, I believe all that. I believe that's true. But again, after it came out, August 27th, by the 28th, if you're not responding to it, if you're not letting people know, giving a heads up to Ethan and others in Comicsgate, then obviously you're okay with it, aren't you? You're okay with that because otherwise you would have said something, but you didn't. You know, notice you didn't see anything until September 1st when he linked the article. You know, that's what he did. He linked to the article twice. Twice. With hardly any condemnation of what the author did in the article. And I think that kind of tells you everything about the mind of Mitch Breitweiser. Ethan was wanting to start a company with me after he was let go from DC. I offered him an incredible opportunity and he went his own way, which is fine. I'm glad. Now I think we're starting to see maybe some of why Mitch didn't say anything came from. Now, I'll admit, this is complete speculation on my part. I have no evidence to back it up. I have no hard proof to show you. But the fact that he brings this up, this is something Ethan has talked about, where he said him and Mitch talked when Ethan was getting pilloried for a year, being called a Nazi, trying to be driven out of mainstream by guys like Tim Doyle and Daryl Ayo and Kieran Shake and Renfamous and all that crew. Spent an entire year calling him a Nazi every single day. And Ethan has talked about this. He said he spoke with Mitch, and Mitch said they were going to do a company together, but that if Ethan did, he would have to give up 50% of the rights to every creation he ran through that company. And now when you look, now when you think of that, see, this is the information Mitch omitted from what he just said here about incredible opportunity. An incredible opportunity, yeah, of course it's an incredible opportunity for Mitch to get 50% of whatever Ethan creates. And when you look now back at Cyberfrog Blood Honey in all its various crowdfunding forms, made over $1 million. You got Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet now currently going on. It's over $1 million. 2 books, and they're both over $1 million a piece. Gee, could the reason Mitch didn't decide to give Ethan a heads up be because he's got animosity to him because he's not getting a piece of that Cyberfrog money? Because if it got 50%, well, that would be close to like $500,000 that he. You know, after all the crowdfunding costs and everything, probably it's like close to like $500,000 in funds that would have went to Mitch for doing nothing except for being a quote unquote business partner with Ethan. He'd have done nothing and got $500,000 out of Cyberfrog for himself. Could that be why he said nothing to Ethan about this? Could that be why he let Ethan get run down like that and did not, castigate the author who did it? Could it be that why he didn't tell Ethan about it ahead of time, giving Ethan that phone call he says Ethan should have given him? Could that be why? I have to wonder. I love the CG fans like all of our fans from our last 20 years in comics, but the leadership has failed to uphold their values. No, they haven't, Mitch. You have failed to uphold CG's values. You put yourself ahead of everybody. You did it when you failed to get your book out on time. You did it when you failed to not only get the book out on time, but then went and did your Walmart deal first, giving the book to the public rather than to the people who backed it. And you did it again here when you did this interview without checking out who was interviewing you. And then when it came out that this guy scammed you and used you to trash the very people who supported you, you said nothing to anyone. And didn't until they had a problem with it, and then you went on an attack against them. So, yeah, you're the one failing to uphold the values, not CG. And again, once again, the leadership. There is no leadership of CG. It's a loose conclave of people who all, as he says, share certain values. That's what it is. And they promote each other and they help each other where they can. That's what they do. But there is no leader of CG. There is no leadership of CG. There are some voices that are louder than others, but that doesn't make them leaders. But again, this is SJW talk. This is what SJWs say. I will defend myself against the wild, gross, and false accusations being leveled at me. Good day. Again, more SJW than good day at the end there. That's perfect SJWism right there. And I've seen no false accusations. Ethan's stream, he said nothing false. He didn't even attack Mitch. He in a way he was defending Mitch Breitweiser. He attacked the author, and he attacked like the SJW mindset that the author has, but he didn't attack Mitch. But yet Mitch wants to make this all about him. So I come in one final time here. No, what someone doesn't do to a friend is let them get run down in a public article and then doesn't speak out against the author of that article, but the people they targeted. You now want to play the victim when you are the one who allowed this to happen. You could have went out and told everyone the author lied. You could have spoken up to show the people who supported you in the dark days mattered to you. But you didn't. You sat on the sidelines as they were insulted and degraded publicly, and only whine now because you are rightfully called out for your betrayal of those people. Even now, you rewrite history yourself. Your incredible opportunity to Ethan Van Sciver was to let him under your company umbrella for 50% of the rights to his creations. Hardly a bargain in any sense of the word. You screwed your crowdfunding backers, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised you'd screw Comicsgate and those who supported you against people like this author. From all you've said and done, I see no slander of you. In fact, I think people are still being too polite. You achieved your success thanks to the very people who got backstabbed in that article. But rather than take up for them, you want to throw them out as you don't think you need them anymore. You've done all this yourself. You could have prevented it. You could have stood up for those who had your back when it mattered, but you didn't. You chose the easy path. You chose to think only of yourself. That's fine. But now that it's hurting you, don't play the victim, because it isn't a very good fit. People now see you for who and what you are. There's no going back, and they won't be fooled again. Like I said, enjoy those 30 pieces of silver. They will have to sustain you for a long time. And again, this goes right back to the heart of it. You know, John Malin on Ethan's stream, when he talked about this, said that he thinks what Mitch was doing was hedging his bets and being a fence sitter. He didn't want to come out against the article because, well, he wanted to see which way the wind's going to blow. He doesn't know whether it's going to be Comicsgate that comes out on top or if it's going to be the mainstream that comes out on top. So he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. And then once he can see and divine who's going to kind of win the culture war, he'll jump ship to that side in the last minute and say, yeah, I've always been with you guys. And I think, again, that's John Malin's speculation on that. You know, he doesn't have any hard evidence to prove it. But I think it's a very well-reasoned hypothesis. And again, based on what we've seen here from Mitch himself, it would seem to back up a lot of what he says. And now you're saying, what's this? This is a picture or screen grab I got of Mitch's live stream. What was it? 3 days ago on the 9th, where he went and came at me. See, those posts you saw, I would have taken you directly to the Facebook page to show them to you, but I couldn't. You know why? Because Mitch deleted them all. He deleted them from his page so that all that was on. So I'm glad but of course I was smarter than him. I made sure to screen cap him. But before he did that, he did a live stream here, a drawing live stream, drawing the very book that he's so late in getting out over 2 years to his backers. Here it is right here, still unfinished. In this live stream, he attacked me. He read my post just like I did to you here, and then called me a psycho, among other things. You see, because he got called out, because I called him to task for his own behavior, the way many SJWs have been called to task by Comicsgate for their behavior. Mitch didn't seem to like this very much, so he thought he would stick it to me. You know, here's Mr. Big Guy punching down at a nobody. Because, you know, look at me, you know, but I got this screen grab for you guys because I want you to look down there in the very left-hand corner, lower corner. What's that say? 26 watching now. This is how big time this guy thinks he is. He's so big that he can only get 25 people, because I'm one of the 26, of course, because I was there to get this. 25 people on his drawing live stream while he runs me down and attacks me. Nobody. You know, my YouTube channel, I've got like 65 subscribers. I'm nobody. His has almost 3,100. So he's way bigger than me, and yet he can't pull more than 25 people to his live stream. He can't pull more than 25 people to a live stream, which I think kind of says it all, you know, about how he's way, way too full of himself. And again, it just goes to show he doesn't respect that the people he he had support from or why he had that success. I think he believes his success all came from himself. I made it all happen. Except you didn't. Without those backers, without that $200K they gave you, you never could have got your Walmart deal. You never could have gotten, the company off the ground. You never would have got your little article pieces that you're seeing like that. You wouldn't have got any of this stuff without them. But yet he thinks he's so big, and yet he wants to also play victim, just like an SJW does. They go out, the SJWs do their thing, they attack people, they call them bigots, they call them Nazis, they run them down, and then when the people attack, oh, I'm being harassed, oh, I'm being attacked, oh, I'm such a victim. And this is exactly what he's doing. And so I just get this because I laughed. I laughed when I saw this. I heard about this because I was at a live stream when I heard about this, and I had to jump over and I had to see it for myself. What? He's talking about me? Me, a nobody? A nothing? Why is he talking about me? And I saw why, and he's reading it in some kind of like weird voice and then saying I'm a psycho. I just thought it was hilarious. I started laughing. When I saw that number at the bottom, I started laughing. I'm laughing at you, Mitch. I'm laughing at you now. You're fucking pathetic. But here we are again. We're going to go with this. This is an update he did on his Red Rooster campaign back in February. He goes, hope you're all doing well. We have been working with a developer to create the complimentary digital download for the first 24 pages, episode 1 of Red Rooster. We're in the testing phase now, and we plan to have everything working by early next week and deliver the download shortly thereafter. Now, again, remember, people were offered a physical book, not a download, but this is how he's trying to now rationalize to himself that he's doing all he can. Backers that purchased the digital version of the Allegiance Bundle campaign will also download their purchases via this system. We'll be posting instructions on how to access your complimentary download in the next update, so please be on the lookout for that. This is the first time we've set up a digital download system like this, and we appreciate your patience. We are very happy to be working with awesome digital developers, blah, 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 blah. I'm also working on Red Rooster as much as I can as we hurtle towards our May 5th Walmart launch for Allegiance Arts Comics. The schedule has shifted back just a bit to allow me to manufacture our Walmart display. So right here it is in February, he was telling people, yeah, you're not going to get your books first, but they're going to be out in Walmart first. This right here, there it is. He put his deal ahead of his obligation to his backers. But it doesn't end here. This is February. Let me go forward. May. Last leg. Thank you for going on this incredible adventure with us. Every Red Rooster backer will be receiving a beautiful, lovingly crafted, and hard-fought book into their hands very soon. Now, again, this is 3 months later, and it's still very soon. Elizabeth and I have been working nearly ceaselessly on your 68-page graphic novel over the last many weeks, and we are happy to report that the project is 70% complete. But we aren't getting off the gas this close to the finish line. Finishing the remaining pages and entering fulfillment are our highest priority for the month of June. If all goes well, we'll be announcing that Red Rooster Golden Age is at the printer with next month's update. So here it is here. He's telling you, June, you'll have your books in June. We're 70% done. It's so close. We got our foot on the gas. We're going to have this done in no time flat. It's going to be in your hands. Thank you all again for your support, enthusiasm, and passion for this project. The amount of engagement, both positive and negative, that our characters and work have inspired is truly awesome. Definitely a little overwhelming, but awesome nonetheless. We love how much you care. How hilarious is this now? This is back in June. This is back in May. May 29th, back in May. He is so appreciative of all the comments and all the passion, both negative and positive. And yet, What a difference a few months makes to now suddenly anyone being critical, oh, you're just a hater and you're misrepresenting our article and you're attacking us and doxing us and you're just a bunch, we never expected this from you. You've let us down. You've lost a friend in us. How funny it goes in just a few short months, isn't it? Isn't it amazing how the wind blows? And here's the last one they did, the June-July update, done in July. Backers, June flew by, and I'm a couple weeks behind on my monthly updates. My apologies. Progress continues towards the completion of the Red Rooster Golden Age. We are in the final stretch of the project. Finishing and fulfillment are now the focus of the Allegiance Arts team. Well, wait a minute. I thought you were in the home stretch 2 months before. You're still in the home stretch 2 months later? How long of a home stretch? This is going to be the longest home stretch in racing history. It's longer than the actual racing course. We are anxious to put our 70-page graphic novel with gold foiling on the cover in your hands. I thought it was 68 pages. Oh, but now it's 70 pages. Your package will include backer-exclusive content, a trading card, sticker, and other surprises. Higher tiers will receive posters, sketches, and other items exclusive to this campaign. I believe everyone will be thrilled with the beautiful package we are preparing. But again, you were preparing this package 2 months ago from this point, and you were saying how, oh, well, we're 70% done, and we're in the home stretch, and it's going to be out there by June, and here it is now July, and it's still not out yet. Isn't that amazing? As we lean into the final stretch, this team is having to pull back on answering comments and messages from our internet platforms to focus full-time on completion, which will delay our response to inquiries. Yet you still made time to make sure you posted your article out. You made sure to go out and denigrate people for complaining when they found out the article trashed them. You made sure to take time out to tell backers who are upset that it's been over 2 years with nothing while you're putting books out in Walmart to tell them to shut the hell up. You made time to do all of that on your social medias, but yet you can't answer questions. You made time to do a live stream to attack some nobody who called you out on your page, but I don't have time for answering people's legitimate questions. Kind of tells you everything, doesn't it? It's been an incredible honor to create this book for all of you. Yeah, I really bet it has. Red Rooster is also a work of art and a deeply personal expression. For those who followed our journey, I encourage you to fearlessly create something beautiful and uncompromising and true. Thank you all for your patience in the creation of this artwork and product. And again, this is 2 months ago. 2 months ago, and there's been no update since on the crowdfunder. So this is the last update he did 2 months ago, and the book still isn't out. He's still in the home stretch. He's still 70% done. He's still wrapping it up and putting his foot on the gas. Here he is, from when he said that, from 4 months ago, and he's still in that home stretch. He's in the home stretch. He was in the home stretch in February. He's in the home stretch in May. He's in the home stretch in July. He's in the home stretch in September. I mean, what is he? Is he on a treadmill on the race course? Is it like there's a treadmill in front of the home stretch where he's just running and running and running? He's not getting anywhere. Is that because that's what it seems like? And again, just back this up here a few. This I can tell you right now. This is from issue 3 of Red Rooster. Because if you read issue 2, like I unfortunately did, and see how it ended, you can tell with this lightning and him in pain, this is issue 3. Issue 3 isn't out yet. Issue 3 was due out last week, according to the solicitations with Walmart. But that's been changed now to November. So it's 2 more months before he has issue 3 out. So he hasn't even got issue 3 of his book ready. And yet somehow he's in the home stretch. 70% of the book is done. 70% of those 70 pages are done. Except they're not. They're not even half done. We're in the home stretch. The home stretch that never ends. It's hilarious to me. It's absolutely stymieing. you know, and but again, I mean, what more can I say except, just to share this with you. I'll share the next bit. This is it right here. This is there. There it is, folks. The Red Rooster, $200,000, over 3,500 people backed, and it was done in August 23rd of 2018. So it's been over 2 years, and this book has not been put in the hands of those 3,500 or almost 3,600 backers. But yet, parts of it are out in Walmart right now, and he's drawing it, saying he's at the home stretch while he's not even halfway done. And he's taking time out to do interviews with SJW authors who are nothing but a bunch of Trump haters, and attack the very people who supported him to the tune of $200,000. But yet, when the blowback comes on that, he doesn't complain about the author who did it. He complains to the people who were attacked. He complains to people who were maligned in the article. They're the problem. This is what I'm talking about. And in case you thought I was lying about the updates, let's just scroll down here. We'll go over to the updates. There it is, the last update. So he hasn't updated this in 2 months, but he's 70% done, folks, and he's right. He's in the finals. He's leaning into the final stretch. I mean, you can't help but laugh, because it's either laugh or just like, have your head explode like in Scanners. That's the only choices you have at this point. I mean, I'm glad I didn't back the book, because I had thought about it at the time. Back in 2018, I was thinking about backing the book because I felt bad for them being attacked. I saw them being treated the same way that Ethan and others had been, who I've also backed it over the years. And I felt bad for them. Like, maybe I should back their book too, because these are good people who are being unjustly attacked. Well, it turns out maybe they're not such good people after all. 2 years late, and they attacked the people who were complaining. 2 years late, and they make sure to get their book out in Walmart first. 2 years late, and they're doing interviews that run down the very people who backed this project, who supported him in the efforts. Ethan Van Sciver, letting him on his live streams to promote the book. Ethan himself promoting the book. All that free promotion for what? And what did they get for it? A stab in the back. A stab in the back from a Judas. That's what they got. And then when they complained about it, when they dared to have the audacity to complain about it, Judas plays the victim. Oh, I'm being put upon by these people I stabbed in the back. They should have just taken that backstab and just rolled with it. What's wrong with them? They lost a friend in me, but I don't know how much of a friend you can be when you've stabbed them in the back. I mean, I don't think that's how that works. And so to anyone watching this, if you're a creator of any kind, I'd say watch your back. Watch your back with the Brightweisers. Because, if they've done it to Ethan Van Sciver and Comascape, they'll do it to you. They will do it to you, because here's the other part of this that's cracking me up. Do you have what it takes? They are auditioning people to join Allegiance Arts. How hilarious is that? They can't get their book out to the backers who backed it. They can't even get their books out on time to their Walmart partners. And yet they want you to publish through them so that they can take 50% of your creation for themselves. I mean, again, you can't make this stuff up. I guess if I were to tell you this, if I were to tell you a story and made all this stuff up, you'd think, oh, dude, come on, man, you're just too fantastical. This can't be real. Nobody would do that kind of stuff. No one would stab the people who supported them in the back like that. No one would willingly, go out and try to get more people to work for them while they themselves can't even get their own work out on time. Oh my God, you're crazy. It's insane. But it's not insane. It's all real. It's all too real. like I said, and I would feel bad for them in all this, but they brought it all on themselves. They did all this. And they did it all because one thing they didn't do, one thing they failed to do is this right here. To look into our journalist buddy, to look into him and see what he was all about. Here he is, and scroll down through it. And here it is all about COVID and blaming Trump. There's look more attacking Republicans. Hate Trump. Here Trump is bad, orange man bad. Republicans suck. Let's quote Trump on this night. Let's not forget, hate Trump. I mean, a cursory glance, and that's what this is here. A cursory glance of this guy's, Twitter page shows you what he's all about. How could you ever have wanted to do an interview with this guy? What was he? A close personal friend? Which again, if he was a close personal friend, I think you would know all this about him already. But I mean, why would you interview with this guy? If you were someone who is, as they said in the article, not very political, why would you go with someone who's an obvious political ideologue to tell your story? How do you think it was going to be slanted? Do you think it was going to be a fair and balanced piece? Do you think it was going to not take anything you said out of context? I mean, what were you expecting in any of this? It's ridiculous. But yet, he did no diligence in this, And again, this is something, Ethan said in his stream when he talked about this topic. He said, what he says that they should learn is you can't just trust anybody to interview you. You got to know who it is who's interviewing you. If it's somebody with an agenda, somebody with an angle that they have that they want to push, you need to be wary of that person. You need to not talk to that guy because why? Because they're not going to do you right by you. They're going to do right by their agenda. That's for one person I would say never to interview with is Heidi McDonald of The Beat. She's part of that Whisper network. Do you think if you were a member of Comicsgate or even connected tangentially the way that they're trying to say that the Brightweisers were, do you think that person is going to give you a fair and balanced hearing? Do you think they're going to listen to what you say, and when they write their article, they're going to be fair and even-minded with it? Hell no. They got their agenda. They're going to see what they can use in it and then do exactly what this guy did. But again, he didn't get mad at this scumbag. He got mad at the people who backed him. He got mad at the people who were run down in the article from this guy. In a way, Mitch defends the article more than he does the people it attacked. I mean, what does that tell you? Is there anything more? How much more a deeper betrayal can you get than that? It's all Ethan Van Sciver's fault. It's all Comicsgate's fault. They're attacking me. They're misconstruing the article and what was said. They're just letting me down, and they're not my friends anymore. What the hell kind of friend were you? 2 years, and you still haven't given people the book you promised. You put it out in Walmart before they get it. And then you do articles that run them down. And then not only do you not call out the author of the article publicly, you also go on and then say nothing to the people that run down. You didn't give them any warning. This came out of the blue. Again, Ethan said it himself. He didn't know about this until his birthday on September 3rd, a week after this article had come out. And then when the blowback from that comes, does Mitch do any soul searching? Go, I really probably should have said something more. I probably should have come out harder against this. No, it's, we've lost all these backers, and it's all Ethan Van Sciver's fault and Comicsgate's fault. They let us down. They turned their backs on us. No, you turned your back on them long before any of this happened. This is what I'm talking about. This you can't just, trust anybody, it seems. People who you think are your friends, people who you think are there for you, they're not. This is insane. This is horrible. I mean, I guess and out of all of it, the people I truly feel bad for, it's not the Brightweisers. They brought all this on themselves. I definitely don't feel bad for this author. I hope he's getting some blowback somewhere, but he ain't getting it from them, which is where it should come from. I don't really feel that sorry for Ethan and Comicsgate because they've had stuff like this done to them so often. It's all par for the course now. They're used to it. It's no big deal. I feel sorry. You know what I feel sorry for? Butch Geis, Blake Northcott, Kelsey Shannon, Kevin Grievous, David Williams. I feel sorry for these people because they're pushing their books through Allegiance Arts and through the Brightweisers. And they didn't ask for any of this. They aren't involved in any of this. They don't want to be. I'm sure they don't want to be a part of any of this. But this shows you this is what they think. The Brightweisers don't think about the people they don't think about people who support them. They don't think about the people who they work with. They're not thinking of them. They're thinking of themselves. They decided to do this interview. They decided to say nothing when it came out and attack the very people who gave them everything they have and supported them in the dark days when they were being canceled by the mainstream. They're the ones that chose to instead attack Ethan Van Sciver and Comicsgate and those backers, who backed them then, instead of attacking the author of the article. They made all these choices. They're the ones that chose to not fulfill their book for over 2 years. They're the ones who chose to do a Walmart deal before fulfilling to their backers. They're the ones who have failed to get their book out on time, even to Walmart now. These are all their choices. And yet, it's going to hurt those other people. It's going to hurt Blake Northcott and Kelsey Shannon's book, Nora's Saga. It's going to hurt Kevin Grievous's and David Williams' book, Bass Reeves. It's going to hurt Butch Geis's book, The Futurist. It's going to hurt those books because they don't care about those other people. Those people are there to service the Brightweisers. They're there to service Allegiance Arts. That's why I titled this stream as I did, An Allegiance to No One, because that's what the Brightweisers seem to be. Their allegiance is to no one. Their allegiance is to whoever it's convenient to at the moment. We were being attacked by the mainstream and Comicsgate came in and saved us. Or it'll be allegiance to Comicsgate until it's no longer convenient. And then, now we never really were Comicsgate. And Comicsgate's the problem. They're attacking us. They're doxers. They're harassers. They let us down. And I just got to think what happens if something goes down with one of those other books. Are they going to stand by those people? Are they going to support them? Or are they going to cut and run? Like they did here, like they've done to their backers for Red Rooster for 2 years. I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, if I was any of those people working there now, I would be totally in my head going, can I trust these people? Do I need to find a way to get out of my contract? Do I need to take my project and go somewhere else and get it published there? Because this isn't for me. I don't want to be a part of any of this. I don't want people who aren't going to have my back. I don't want people who are going to, cut and run when the things get tough or when I'm inconvenient for them. If I said something that they didn't like or I said something that was maybe controversial at some point, and then all of a sudden we'll just cut and run on you. Oh yeah, they're not really part of us anymore. They're no longer with Allegiance Arts. I mean, I would have to think about that. I would wonder all the time. And so what about it? I wonder if these people are thinking. I wonder if they even know about any of this. I mean, I would think they would, or at least they should. But if they don't, and they're being kept in the dark, I mean, that's not doing them any favors. I mean, so to those people there, I say, I wish you guys the best. But as I told Mitch, you guys lost me. You lost my wife, and we were even buying an extra copy of Nora's Saga for our niece. So that's like 3 you've lost. You lost 3 backers right there to your books. I'm sure Mitch doesn't care much that I told him that. He doesn't care. Doesn't affect him all that much that I'm not buying the books. Because, don't worry, someone else at Walmart will buy them. Mm-hmm. Well, you keep thinking that. But yet he's complaining about people pulling out of their backings now for the crowdfunder. And his company isn't strong enough to absorb. I'm sure he isn't strong enough to absorb $200,000 in refunds. So, what's that leave him? He did all this to himself. And he not only refuses to see that, but instead is looking for scapegoats. Just like the SJWs in the comic industry, in the mainstream today. we see the sorry state of it. And whose fault is that? Oh, it's not their fault. It's not their fault for attacking consumers and calling them Nazis and bigots. It's not their fault for pushing, far left ideologue, politics in the books where they didn't belong, and altering icons that everybody loved, but to fit some political narrative they want you to believe, to listen and believe. I mean, it's not their fault for any of it. That's not their fault. It's the COVID. It's the lessening of importance of print. It's comic shops that don't know how to run their business right. It's everybody. It's distributors who shut down on us and leave us with nothing. It's everybody else's fault but their own. And that's exactly what you see here with Mitch Breitweiser. All of this isn't his fault. It's Ethan Van Sciver's fault. It's Comicsgate's fault. It's impatient backers' faults. But it's not his fault. Even though every choice down the line was his choice. But it's not his fault. No. Can't be. No. Not possible. Not possible whatsoever. This is how good stuff goes bad. This is how someone who can have a good idea and they blow it. I'm reminded of Mike S. Miller. He was Comicsgate at one time until he didn't think it was advantageous anymore, and so he threw him under the bus. Told them, if you subscribe to me because you're a fan of Ethan Van Sciver, unsubscribe to me now. And if you back me because you wanted to back it because of Ethan, don't back me. And now he suffers. He used to have crowdfunders that could get six figures. Now they're like, what, $35,000 for his latest Trump book that he did, though, the Magnificent Seven, another parody Trump book that, after Trump's out of office, no one's going to care about, just like no one cares about the ones they did with Obama back in the day. No one cares about those books. They're not worth anything now. Remember the famous Spider-Man cover with Obama on it? Is it worth any money now? Nope, nobody cares. Why? Obama ain't in office no more. It doesn't matter. And it'll be the same for these books. But whereas before he might have got $100,000 in the campaign, now he's getting $35,000. I mean, I just don't understand these people, how they can just turn on those who made it all possible for them. I mean, SJWs, at least I understand why they do it, because they're ideologues who don't care about money. They don't care about, entertainment. They don't care about any of these things. They only care about, control, power, and pushing their narratives. And if that means you destroy an industry in the process, if that means you drive away an audience, so be it. They don't care. At least that I can understand, But these were people who supposedly cared about entertainment. They cared about the industry. They cared about making money. And yet they're doing all these things that are doing the exact opposite. And it just kills me. I do not understand. But then I guess betrayals always make little sense to the people who get betrayed, do they? So I guess just another sad story, another sad chapter, just another thing that we just gotta just look at and shake our heads and go, oh well, what could have been? What could have been? But Mitch, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you probably are, or if you're not, I'm sure somebody will send you a link and you'll watch it. First off, fuck you. Second of all, fuck you with a rusty chainsaw. And third off is, I hope that out of all this, you'll come to see that what you've done is exactly the kind of thing that you supposedly were against, the kind of thing that was done to you by the very types that you now are acting just like. I hope you can come to see that someday. So maybe you can reverse course, change your ways. I don't know. But whatever the case, just know, buddy, this is all on you. This isn't Ethan Van Sciver's fault. This isn't my fault. This isn't Comicsgate's fault. This isn't your backers' fault. This is all on you. And everyone knows that, it seems, except for you. And I guess that's the saddest statement of all and everything. But I don't want to end all this on a big downer note, because this has been, like I said, this has been pretty much a downer stream, because anytime we talk about betrayals, it's always a bringer downer. So instead, I want to end you off with something here a little more on the positive side, a little something to make you feel good rather than bad. And I'm going to do a shout out. Shout out to a channel I think you guys should be checking out much more often. Right here, Chuck Dixon. This is a guy who you should be following. You know, subscribe to his channel here. Lots of great stuff. You know, he does question and answer sessions. He does, you know, like I hear like bumpers that he was involved in for things in the past and interviews he has done and TV spots, all kinds of cool stuff. Sometimes he shows you artwork. You know, the Ask Chuck Dixon pieces are probably his best works, because what he does is, you know, you can, you know, on either on Facebook or here on one of his videos, you can ask questions, and if the questions are good enough, he'll put you in one of his videos. And as you can see right here, he's already up to number 23. I've been in a few of these. I was in number 23, in fact, and not only did I get my question answered, it was one of, if not the longest answers ever given, not just in this video, but in any of the Ask Chuck Dixon videos, and also one of the most comprehensive answers. You know, Chuck spared no expense on giving me the answer to the question. So, you know, I gotta love that. He's a guy who's been in the industry for a long time. He's got a lot of great stories he can tell you about, you know, things that happened and things he's seen and things he's done. You know, it's a great channel. He just recently crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark, but I like to see him get higher so he can try to monetize his videos from this point on. And like I said, this is everything that you would want in a creator's YouTube channel. It's fun and it's funny and it's interesting and it's, you know, informative, and it's just a really great time. You know, it's just like hanging out. It's like hanging out at a comic convention, talking to artists and writers without having to go out and deal with crowds. That's what this is. And so I would strongly advise everyone, after you subscribe to my channel here, make sure to go over to Chuck Dixon's and subscribe to his, because like I said, you won't be sorry. You know, and if you get a chance, you know, ask some questions. He'll, you know, make some good questions. He'll definitely give you answers. He's not afraid to give you the answers to the questions you have. So I would say definitely check him out. Definitely one of the guys you want to definitely somebody you should be checking out. Well, I guess that'll about do it for this stream here. We're almost 2 hours in. Wow, didn't realize it was going to go that long. I thought it was going to be a lot faster than this, but well, you know how it goes. But thanks for joining me. For all you who joined me here in the chat and whatnot, we got who is it? In Disguise. Nice. I like that. I like that name. It's a fun name. And well, you know, the wife showed up. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. And you know, thanks you guys for checking it out. And you know, whether you're checking it out live here or whether you're checking it out later, maybe, you know, if you're watching this later afterwards, I still appreciate you. Make sure to smash that like button if you like what you heard or you found it interesting, or you know, and even if you didn't. And you know, if you got any comments, you know, drop them in there. I always enjoy seeing what people got to say. And if you check down there in the description section, we got links to my Twitter page, where it's a lot of fun stuff there. You'll see lots of cool comic art and comic related stuff. You know, if you want a break on your Twitter from all the nonsense and the politics and the drama and the hate, you know, stop on by my page, because you won't find any of that on that timeline. It's all fun and all good stuff. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. And also right there, we got our link to the art gallery, where our artists, who will never backstab you because they appreciate your support when you purchase some of their artwork. You know, they enjoy you spending your money with them. So, you know, you can be sure they won't backstab you in an article, you know, the way some might. So, you know, go there and check out all the great art we have for sale. Lots of great stuff there, you know, stuff from all over, Marvel, DC, Image, you know, others, you know, great stuff from the 70s up through the present. So I think you'll find a lot there you'll enjoy. And once again, I want to thank you all for joining me today. And be safe out there. Like I said, it's kind of crazy times we're living in. We're kind of living in the end of days, it seems. So just be careful out there, protect yourself, watch yourself, and until next time, take care.